Hey, good afternoon. Welcome to Two Gents Podcast. I just happen to be one of your hosts tonight, and I'm kind of stuck out by myself. Our other hosts had previous obligations that they had to go to, and they informed me earlier this morning, and Pastor Riggins and Byron Glass will not be here tonight, so I'm kind of stuck in my own area, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it's always good to be alive. It's always good to wake up in the right spirit, to know that your day has started. It's always good. I try to encourage people of that every day. So tonight our show is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be bringing up some points and doing something like I normally do on Mondays and Wednesdays. They're not here, but they're here in spirit. I can tell you that. Byron Glass is here in spirit. Pastor A.F. Riggins is here in spirit. And I hope that everybody out there is getting a chance to enjoy this summertime. I know that it's really just kicking off, and I hope that you get a chance to go out and enjoy some of the things that you like doing. And I hope that if you got grandkids, you're getting involved with them. And never forget, I say this every Thursday. We have this thing. I have this thing that I share with the people that I know called "Treat Yourself Thursday," and I'll tell you, never forget to treat yourself on Thursday, one day a week. It doesn't have to be Thursday, but I just chose Thursday because my cousin introduced that to me. So as we get into this thing tonight, I just want to say hi to everyone that's out there. I appreciate your support, and we're gonna kind of get into this show. And I'm gonna tell you, I called when I first did this. I didn't know how I was going to present it, so I it's kind of like it's powerful in the message, and it goes to the people that need to hear it. And if you're involved in politics, you really it's another part of the story that's out there. So I want to get into it. Don't want to take too much of your time. Again, I'm out here by myself tonight, and I'm stretching out. As you can see, my hands go up. I'm ready. I'm truly ready. What we're gonna get into tonight is something that's been out there for a while. It's something that's been out there. The way that they handle situations in the United States, the way that it goes forward, the way that it's been going forward, the history behind stuff that we are just finding out that if we don't dig into it, we're just as lost as the next person. See, I ain't gonna get out here and claim that I have all the history to go with it, but I am gonna get out here and tell you that if you don't dig into it, I did a show the other day, Monday. It was almost like the metrics. I mean, you think about it. If you take the red pill, you really get into it. You understand what's going on. If you take the blue pill, you just choose to get out there and be in the world, and whatever happens, happens. You don't care about nothing that's out there. So I'm gonna tell you this tonight. We're gonna get into a lot of things that's gonna maybe upset some people and make people comfortable. I don't know, but I'm here to educate you. And Byron Glass and Pastor A.F. Riggins, I'm glad that you're out there, man. I hope you're enjoying. As a matter of fact, Byron had to go to a school board meeting. Pastor Riggins had a previously scheduled engagement. So here we go, man. America keeps asking why the pattern keeps surviving. What? It never asks who keeps feeding the program. We go through this cycle over and over and over, and we ask him, why do we get here all the time? Why does it get down to what we say or what we do, and how what happens on the voting pattern? And let me just share something with you. Every generation thinks that their moment is new. Every headline acts like history just appeared. It didn't just appear. Most of the stuff, if you're old enough and you've been around long enough and you done went through some things and you got some gray hairs like me, you know, it's like history repeats itself over and over and over, and it's repeating itself You look back and say, well, my parents or my grandparents or somebody went through the same thing. Sometimes the truth is simple but uncomfortable. The pattern survived because the system adopted. And we always ask ourselves, well, how does this happen? Well, the system continues to adopt the roles and places that they put us in. They adopt. They haven't changed their narrative. If they was against you then, they're still against you. They don't want to see you succeed. And that's just part of life, I guess, is it's becoming a part of life, because when we get out there, we wonder why it seems like everything against us. And it's not in laws, it's not in speeches, it's not in personalities. It's hid in the architecture of influence. It means that it's here right in front of your face. It's here right there where you can see it. What's happening in politics, what's going on, what happened to different people, and you ask yourself, well, why is that happening? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? Because they hide it right in front of you. They don't run away from what their objectives are. And you still saying, well, Ron, say, I know so many times I done went to so many places and I've been treated a certain way, and I always wonder how come it never changes. Well, it doesn't change because they just adopt the pattern on how they treat people. They don't, and they do it right in front of your face. And when they do it right in front of your face, it's done with such preciseness that you don't even see it. I'm not here to chase headlines tonight. I'm not here to expose what's built into the walls in which we live in. And it's there. I'm gonna use my sit in my space attitude tonight, because and we're gonna breathe in this, because I need to sit in my space, because I don't have anybody on the sides of me, and I'm the only one that's here, but I need to sit in my space. And most of y'all, if you never listen to me, sit in my space is kind of like an area where I go, and I'm on a series called The Metrics of Politics on Mondays right now. Last Monday, I introduced a new subject, and it was called King Makers. And it's so many areas of politics that you get into that if you're not educated, if you're not making an educated guess, and that just happened to be one of them. So if you want to go back and look at that, you're welcome to. What we're dealing with isn't loud, it isn't dramatic, it's quiet, it's structural, and it's hidden in plain sight. I done said that a couple of times. Remember that. Once our society couldn't silence influence outright, it shaped the conditions influence must survive in. And you say, well, Ron, where are you going with this? Take like when you go to work every day. And when you go to work, that some of us work for Black people, some of us work for white people, and some of us work for Hispanics. But when they shape that narrative, it always seems like it's against you as a worker. It always seems like it's coming back against you, because whatever you do, you can't never satisfy. It's never at a point where you're in a position where you can make a difference, because you feel lost. You feel left out. You feel like it's attacking you every day. And some of y'all, some people might be saying, well, Ron, as I listen to you, I'm not following you. Sometimes it's racism in how they treat you. Sometimes it's racism, and it's right there in front of your face. It doesn't change, it adapts, it moves forward. I want to remind you, it still matters. Just think about this. This is something that's almost the same. Think about it. A judge had to block mail-in voting. A judge had had to change the rule for blocking mail-in voting. And who do you think that affected the most? I'm just asking a question. That's all I want to do is ask a question on that. Who do you think that affected the most? Whether you disagree or agree, access matters. Access always matters when systems are involved. When you're involved in systems that's set up to make you fail, access always matters. It's almost like Byron Glass say, if you got a seat at the table, and I done heard Byron Glass say this over the years, it's not all of Byron changed the narrative this year to if you got a seat at the table and you're not opening your mouth, maybe you should find somewhere else to go. Because if you're just sitting there and you're occupying that space, you're not serving nobody. You're not even serving yourself. So maybe we need to change the narrative. When they ask us to have a seat at the table, we need to have a seat at the table with a voice. Because I done heard Byron Glass say it too many times. He said, Ron, if they put me in there, I'm going to have a voice. So I'm going to get up and leave. And that's the attitude that we got to take now, is that we got to realize that when we're sitting at the table, we got to open our mouth, or else it's just not for us. You know, when I just got through telling you about the judge changes to mail-in voting rules, my question wasn't who won the ruling. My question is who gets access today. You know, as we continue going through this show, I hope I'm educating. I hope I'm going out of my way, because I have a passion for sitting in this chair where I'm at right now. I have this passion that I want to share with you. I have this passion that I want you to understand. I have this passion that I want to educate people as I go. You know, leaders fitting into the familiar expectations, roles easily. When they go into those roles, and I say this, and we said this before, when you see somebody rising easily, or somebody coming through the ranks look like they never paid any dues or anything like that, but they show up in front of you. Leaders challenging structures face a different resistance. You know, when you're in a leader role and you're black and you're facing different resistance at your job, and you go through this and you go through that, and you wonder, I did the same thing as the last person did. Why am I being challenged for where I'm at? Why does it seem like everything I bring up is an uphill battle? But somebody else can bring it up and it's right there. It's right there. That's not a conspiracy. That's not even coming from a secret room or agenda. It's just the way the institutions are shaping access and visibility to where we're going. They don't want us to succeed. I know. People look at me and say, well, Ron, what do you mean they don't want us to succeed? If you look at life as a whole, you can answer that question yourself. Think about the times that you done went through life and you done went out there and you done did something greater, better, jumped higher, did things better than anybody else that was out there. And they never gave you recognition. They gave it to somebody else. And probably the only thing that person said, opened up their mouth and said was, you know what? I saw that and I just agreed with it. Not that I went through this other person and they told me how to do it. They never want to give you credit for it. They never want to recognize what you did. You know, and like I said, it's not a conspiracy, and it's not done in secret rooms anymore. If you notice what's going on in government and you look at Donald Trump, he's not hiding. As Pastor Riggins always say, he done took his sheet off. He's sitting right there in front of you. The decisions that he made affect you. The decisions that he makes affects you. It affects you in more ways than you will ever know. But he's sitting right there in your face. Everybody else, he gave permission for people to take off those hoods and sit in their positions and say what they're going to say. Typical example. I'm going to give you an example. Today, they just had that trial of the killer of Charlie Kirk. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. But do you think if the roles was reversed, they would do the same thing that they're doing for that killer of Charlie Kirk? No. You think they're going to own up to him being a Republican just like them? You think they're going to own up to one of theirs shot their own? No. No, they're not. They're gonna let you assume that he's against them. And you might say to yourself, well, how does all this happen, Ron? Gatekeeping, resources, media, perception, the architect of influence. They use their influence to change things where it doesn't make sense. It's done right in your face. It's almost like the subject I was on yesterday, kingmakers. Most of those guys don't even hold a job. They don't do anything to help anybody else. But if somebody comes to town, they get paid. They introduce, they set people up. They take them to places where they normally couldn't walk through the front door, but they go in there and they set them up. And it's not just blacks, whites, Republicans, Democrats. They all do that. That's the reason why politics is probably the most dirtiest game that you will ever get into. And if you're doing something right, and you continue to do what's right, they're gonna get you out of there somehow. I'm just putting it out there. You know, they're gonna get you out of there. Let me ask you something important tonight. Who decides what becomes normal in America? I'm gonna ask the question again because it's important for you to understand. Who decides what becomes normal in America? Most of the time, is it the loudest voice in the room or the voice with the greatest access? Now I'm gonna let you choose: the loudest voice in the room or the voice with the greatest access. And 9 times out of 10, it's the voice with the greatest access that makes a difference in what's going on because they never say a word, but they manipulate the system and people. And when they get through, you're standing there looking up at the sky, saying, even though the sky is blue, you standing up there because they said it was purple. Now it's purple in your mind. That's just how much manipulation they use throughout the system, throughout the media, throughout the other sources. And then the dangerous part of what's going on is that then people that occupy spaces and sit where I'm sitting right now, they go down that same path as those other people. And it doesn't help anybody. You know, gatekeeping. Now, I'm gonna touch on something that's gonna make people say, "Wow, Ron, you shouldn't have went there." That's not what it's about. Churches and civic groups shape influence. If they don't like how something going on, a church and a civic group will change the narrative right there in front of your face. Some of them go against what they already have established, with the purpose of what they're established for. You know, it bothers me because sometimes institutions empower communities deeply. They don't realize the power that they have. The church doesn't realize the power that it has, but it doesn't see the part where it's destroying people. Civic groups sometimes have power, but they dominated by a group of people or one person within the group that takes it a whole different directions. And when they do that, they're not worried about the betterment of people. They're not worried about how you feel. They're not worried about nobody else. They just gonna take it a whole nother direction. And you might say, "Well, Ron, why did you say that about churches? Have you ever really went to a church? It's a few people that have control within the church. It's a couple of families that have control within the church. It's a couple of high tide members that have control within the church. It's rarely if a church operates without either one of those being in place. I know. This is that old boring stuff that people don't want to talk about. This is that stuff that kind of makes the hair stand up on your back or something like that. But that's the information that we need to pass out. They're not this crap that they putting out there, and they just want to get a TikTok, or they want to get high numbers on Facebook. High numbers is what's going to put us back out there in that cotton field. High numbers gonna have you sitting at home trying to figure out how you paying your paycheck. High numbers for somebody else that's out there that's getting paid right now. They're living a different lifestyle as an influencer, and they think that that's gonna last forever. Even they have a number, because see what I'm doing right now. I could write the whole program and give me an AI character, doesn't have to be black, and sit them right here in the same position. And most of you, not all, most of you will respond more to that AI character than you would to me sitting here. Some of y'all gonna get that in a minute. Sometimes, sometimes institutions reinforce what's already out there. That means that if the rules are already in place, they know that you're behind, they're going to continue to do it. AI is a good example of that right now. AI is not set up for black people. I saw something the other day. I wasn't the only person that figured it out. Something the other day, people are starting to realize that AI is not set up for us to succeed. It was already put in place through other people. And their rules don't apply the same. Our history, if they go back and research our history and they dig into the details of it, you know that you've been written off. You've been written off. It's a genocide of black people that's been written off in paperwork and everything else. I love giving examples, because the Creole people. Oh, it's the difference between Creole and Cajun. And if you run up on the right person, they're going to tell you the story. Don't call me Cajun, I'm Creole. Most blacks are called Creole. Most whites are called Cajun from Louisiana. When you look at it as a whole, and I'm just a little bit of education, but the Creoles were in New Orleans, and they had a strong established community. Do you know that when they came in and they made everything black? When they turned everything black, what they was doing was eliminate some of them Creoles that was passing for white, so they wouldn't be fooled. So you wouldn't be fooled. I'm just putting the information out there. Whether or not you like it or you believe it, you can go out and research it for yourself. Let's just do this. Now I'm gonna show you how this thing works, because it shows you something. Let's just step out of history briefly. I'm going to tell you something. Housing research shows a rising trend nationwide. And you say, well, Ron, how is that? It all ties back. Trust me. It's always tied back. We just didn't see it because they still adopt it. They still do stuff to keep you out of certain areas. What they do, and I'm gonna put it out here so you can understand. See, to keep you out of certain areas, what they do is they raise the taxes in those areas. Now you facing a high house note, and you gotta pay taxes. Then they raise the HOA in your area, in that area that they really don't want you to go in. So you're gonna have to be exceptional to go into that area. Now, I'm just putting it out there whether or not somebody gets it or not, because that's the way that it's not called segregation. They adopted it and gave it a new name. It's called taxes. It's called HOA dues. And it's called people coming out harassing you on a daily basis. That's how they keep you out of those certain areas. You know, think about this. River Oaks, right here in Houston, one of the most fanciest places there is. Some of the most expensive property in Houston. And it's not that many blacks that live over there. Never have been. You know why? Same reason I'm telling you now. Taxes, HOA, harassment. And don't think that it changes because you get elevated at different levels. It don't change because you got money. Listen to people that out there every day in the media. They don't get the same chances. A company that's set up just like Elon Musk. Do you think they get the same treatment as Elon Musk? Nope. It's right there. But don't get me wrong, because I need to go back and follow what Byron Glass always tells me. Byron always said, Ron, I'll listen to somebody that makes sense. I'll follow somebody that makes sense. It doesn't have anything to do with the color of your skin or where you came from. If you make sense, I can follow you. If you helping me, I can follow you. But if you deceive me, I'm gonna let that be known too. I like to, you know me, as I get into this, I like to really, I'm not going to jump from where I'm at right now because it's important. The housing research shows a rising strain nationwide. Families are faced with impossible choices every month. They don't care. Rent, savings, medicine, or groceries. Stability has moved so far away from us since this man has been in office. It is another filter shaping an opportunity. And you might say, well, Ron, what are you saying? I remember when I was younger and hard times with inflation was high, and they was always complaining about prices. And they used to tell these stories about old people going to the grocery store and they bought dog food to survive because regular food was too high. They made choices between medicine and what they were paying. A lot of them didn't have the money through Social Security to help sustain just normal growth. And if they don't have that, you have to make some hard choices. You know, I never understood it till I got older. And you find yourself making those same choices. When you're on a steady income, let me just say this. I need to break this down because people don't get this. You know, when you're working, and sometimes you can work extra hours to meet the needs that you want. Sometimes you can get extra time, or you can work longer or harder or something like that. That's comfortable. What if I go out and I buy something new? I can go out and I can work hard and I can pay it off. I can get to where I'm going. I can do whatever I need to do at that particular point in time because I got it. But as soon as you leave that workforce, I'm gonna tell you what your biggest adjustment is gonna be, so you'll know that one time a month paycheck. Say it again, that one time a month paycheck. And if you're fortunate enough, you may have other checks that come in, but most people couldn't put up for retirement, so they live off that one time monthly paycheck, and it has to go from day one to the end of the month. They have to make hard choices in between that time. And unless you've been there, and I know you sitting there, some of y'all sitting there saying, "Oh man, I ain't never got to do that. I'm good. I'm set." Let me ask you a question. What happens in life if you have an accident or something, you get hospitalized or something where you have to go to that? Even though you're sitting comfortable right now in your place. See, we don't plan for that. What we do is say, "Oh yeah, I got youth on my side. I'm walking every day. I'm doing this. I'm working out. I got all of that." People drop dead in gyms, working out, doing the right thing. So even if it doesn't affect you, so you would think it's going to affect the people that you left behind. They go from this great income that you was providing down to one income at most cases. But they set up in a position where you didn't put them in. What I'm really trying to say is basically this. We need to kind of gather ourselves and kind of rethink where we're at and kind of put ourselves in a position where we can look out for tomorrow too. Our kids may not get a house. The value of houses are here, way up here. It's going to be hard for kids to get a house. Some of them are getting houses, but look what they're paying. They're paying $400,000 and $500,000 for a house. Do you know what that note looks like? That insurance looks like? That HOA fee looks like? And in Texas, we have this thing called mud districts and emergency districts and all the rest of that. By the time you get all of that added in, you're probably using up one of those incomes just if you make a house. But you got a nice piece of house. You living in a community with great schools. That's another thing that gets you out of there. Them school taxes. I'm just telling you that society, especially when it comes to housing and how they treat us and how life is set up, it's that silent stuff that hurts us the most that we never take into account for. Then, of course, we have this other thing that we do. Guilty. I'm gonna hold my hand up because I'm guilty of. Sometimes you live a little bit above your means. You want to be just like everybody else that you see out there in the street. When you go out, you want to dress with certain gear. You want to have certain persons. You want to have certain eyewear. You want to be seen. But what ends up happening is that you start living that lifestyle. And when you start living that lifestyle, it comes back to bite you in your. Because them clothes that you have, they're gonna be hanging in the closet. The eyewear that you paid all that money for, it's gonna possibly go out of style. They're gonna be looking at you different. Everything, that car that you driving, I had to I've been rethinking the stuff that I did in my life because I done had some cars, some pretty good cars. But I think about all the money that I spent because I never got to a point where I paid off a car. until after I got older. And I paid it off. And I began to realize that that was just money coming back to me. I wasn't trying to keep up with the Joneses. I realized later on in life that was just money coming back to me. And it takes us a long time to realize that. It's some of us, we still going out financing trips to go to Carnival cruises and all the rest of that. You feel good, but when you come back home, what do you have? Memories. Memories. Bills still due. Kids still need to eat. Gas still need to be put in the car. But see, you don't think about that. You just gallop off into the sunset. I deal with it when I get back. And trust me, I just want to say this, trust me. Start looking at the grocery store parking lot. Start looking at empty spots where you see people. Start looking at the cars that are in the parking lot when you go to those grocery stores and some of those spots. Some of those people are actually sleeping in their cars. And they're not old people. Young people. Young people. They park their cars and they sleep in the area where they think that they're safe in the lighted area, and the security guard come up and knock on their window so they move somewhere else. I'm just telling you, we living in different times, and if you're not opening your eyes and see it for yourself, sleeping in cars, and nobody's talking about it. Heard a young girl the other day. She said, "I don't care what y'all say. I'm doing the best I can with what I got, what I can do." So if you're working a regular job and you're going to work and the pay is not high enough for you to occupy an apartment or get a place to stay, you're going to be in the same situation. I never look down on a person that's out there, because you never know the struggle that they went through, how they got there, because if you did, you would know that you could possibly get back there. You could be where they're at. It's a number. It's a number. It's your number. Your number is out there too. I don't care if your name Elon Musk. If your money continue to outgo with nothing coming in, you wish that you had a paid for car. I got D coming in. You wish that you had a paid for car. I'm trying to get off of it. You're so right. I bought 4 items at the grocery store last week, and it was $42. I looked up at what those 4 items cost 10 years ago, and it would have cost me $18 to $20 10 years ago. D, to tell you the truth, it probably would have cost you at least $10 cheaper 5 years ago. We're just stuck in a cycle where everything is going up and it's being reduced. I was sitting there, D, to answer your question, I was sitting there getting a loaf of bread. I made myself a sandwich. I made my grandson a sandwich, and I made my granddaughter a sandwich. I'm just saying, I made those 3 sandwiches. I looked at that loaf of bread. Do you know that loaf of bread was almost gone? But we still paying the same prices for that bread. Even gas. Think about it. Our parents never would have dreamed of paying the prices that we pay right now. Even when it was at its highest, where they had alternate days when you could go get gas. It never was as high as it is right now. I don't know what the answer is, but I'm sharing this information with you so you can see there's something that's going on. There's something, and then on top of what I'm sharing with you, if you got that hidden stuff that affects you more, what if you do have to live in your car? It's a little bit different for somebody else, that's living in their car, because they may allow them a chance to, a little bit, maybe a little bit lenient like everything else that they are. But what if they rolled up there and you sleeping in your car, and they done told you once or twice and you still keep showing up? Because what if you're a female and you want to be in a lighted area or whatever, and they keep showing up? Eventually what happens is they call the police. And when they call the police, they're going to treat you like they normally do. I really hope that you understand. And Dee knows that we didn't have people, I had a person on here. I don't know who guess it was, but she was the head of some big organization. It's been a while back. She was making, when she called out the number she was making, it was almost quadruple what I was getting paid at that time. She was black. She was well educated. She had everything going. She thought all her bills were paid, her car note, her insurance, everything was paid. She went in to the job one day, and they told her she was laid off. Had all kind of qualifications. D, I'm gonna put this up because my friend D says, I've lived in my car by choice. By choice. So I could save more money. And that might be what other people are doing, D. That's right. Yeah, that might be what they're doing. But to have to make that choice, and you looking at yourself right now, and you're in a house and you're looking at everything that's going on. Let me tell you what's happening in America, so you'll know. If you got credit cards, you substituting for what you normally would have. Eventually, those credit cards start maxing out. And as they start maxing out, you find yourself in a squeeze, because now you having to live off the money that you had. And if you couldn't pay, if you was barely paying your house note, then guess what? You have to make some real decisions out there. Yeah, I keep taking your comments. No, I would have lived in my car. I haven't done it yet. Oh man. But some of us establish such high standards, and then we look at the people that's out there struggling on the streets. A lot of them had high standards too at one time. A lot of people on the streets got college degrees, but they could never make it back into society. I know y'all sitting there saying, oh, what do you mean they couldn't make it back into society? They had too high standards, and they living a life that they never lived before. And they're not willing to make the sacrifices because they know what's out there. They know it's almost like being on a hamster wheel. As long as you can run on that hamster wheel, you good. You're gonna run on that hamster wheel to the rest of your life. But then it got to a point where they're so far gone out of the system that they don't want to come back. That's the reason why they're out there. Yeah, they done made mistakes, but now they're so far gone that they don't see a way back. The other part of this, and I'm going somewhere with this. I really want to make sure that you understand. You would think with as many mega churches and pulpits out there are people that's giving money, you would think that some of that money would filter down to help people. And I know somebody going to accuse me of jumping around, but I'm bringing this back to a point where we can get back on course. What we was talking about earlier, that silent thing that's out there that we continue to have to deal with, rich or poor, Because you can be rich one minute and poor the next minute, and you're going to still have to deal with the same thing. It's funny because as it goes through our pulpits, I'm listening, and the ballots, it even goes into, if you listen to meetings. I got to do this one. I can't let this one slide. I know I want to let it slide, but I have to reach back, and I'm grabbing my arms because I need to do this into microphones and boardrooms alike. It goes in there. If you don't believe me, let me share a story with you. There's a black mayor for the first time in the city of Pearland. In the city of Pearland, here, right on the outside of Houston. Do you know somebody actually went on Facebook and said that he should know how to conduct a meeting because he's a duly elected official? I know it ain't making sense, but let me help you make sense. You got elected into a position where you had people that had been in office for 45 years, moved from city council to mayor. You have made sacrifices as to get them to be mayor 2 or 3 times where you ran and never got to the position. But now that you're there, they expect you to be excellent in everything that you do. And if I'm correct, that it might have been a city council member that put that out. I'm not for sure. I'm gonna have to check it out. But I'm just saying, how can you take a person and expect them to be excellent when they just got voted into office? The standards are different for us as people. And you see, and here's the other part, I seen comments coming down the road that was just eating this man alive for not knowing the procedures. And everything that he tried to do that the previous mayors have tried to do, and he only been in there, I don't know if it's been 2 or 3 months. They don't even want to allow him to do that. If you don't believe me, go out there and look at Pearland, Texas. Quentin Wilkes, I think is his name, the mayor here. He just got elected. Look at some of the social media comments, and you would think it was grade school. I made a comment on one of them. I said, golly. So what you're telling me is that you came out of your mother's womb and you was walking and talking. You was walking, talking, paying your own bills, doing whatever else. Nobody never had to teach you anything. That's what they want this man to do. I'm telling you, it's still out there. They just change it. They just adapt. They still expect the same thing. But you know, I looked at him and he pushed back on one of those things. And he said, look, I'm the mayor. I know I would have stood up and said, hey, look, you sitting over there. They didn't elect you to my position. And if you wanted to run, you had the opportunity to run. But now that I'm here, it's going to take me a little while to get my feet set on solid ground. But when I get there, he wouldn't say this. I already know who my enemy is. I know. I got to get off of that because there's certain things that set me off. The expectations of people on other people that you place on other people that are in the same position that you just looked at them do whatever they wanted to do. See, in smaller towns like Pearland, they have certain families that run to manipulate the system. And if they don't like the way this is going, they can run up there. Well, when you change the dynamics, now you don't have the opportunity to run up there because he don't have history with you. He's not coming to ask you for anything because he don't know what you got. And he don't know the influence that you got within the community. He can act on his own. And that's the problem with majority of the communities around America is that you got comfortable being in your position. Now you can't handle it when it changes. See, that pattern didn't survive accidentally. It's been out there. It adapted into acquired institutional forms. But when they face with it, and there's nothing that they can do about it, they tell you right in your face. They make Facebook posts. They call you out. And not embarrassed about it. We'll tell you, my father, my mother, my cousin, my this, and everybody did it this way, and that's the way it should be. And you're not gonna come in here and tell me any different, even though you was elected, use an elected mayor. I know I'm just having fun with this, but the pattern is there. It's survived. It's quiet. It's totally different than what you might say. You might not see a person walk in a sheet. You may not see a person come in and just call you out of your name, call you something that you're not naturally called. You might see somebody that sits in front of your face, smile, and stab you right in the smack dab in your back. Oh yeah, it's a good idea when he was running, but when he won, you thought everything was normal. It's the same way when you're at work, You get promoted to a position that somebody else thought that they should have had. The dynamics change. Then you find out that the person that you had the most problems with is the one that's going all over the whole building, on every floor, doing whatever they got to do to destroy you. A lot of times people don't realize that their enemy can touch them. Their biggest enemy can touch you. It's not the ones that's everywhere else. It's the ones that sit in your face and smile that can destroy you the most. They're not concerned about how your family get fed. They're going to do what they got to do. Anyway, it's about an architecture that's set in place and is structured so that we have to continually do what we do just to survive, just to stay out of that car. And I want to say this because it's certain things that we do that's involved in that could help us. Churches, media, better education, business, and government. There again, I'm just hitting something that just kind of irks me. And you heard, if you've been with me long enough, you know I've said this, and it's a proven fact. We did it last week, the week before, where we showed 45% of voters are undecided. 27 are the 27, 20, I think it's 27 and 27 are Democrats and Republicans, divided equal. And you say, why does that matter? Because it shows you a pattern that a person will vote food off their table. And they don't begin to understand that their food is gone until it's no longer there. Then they want to blame everybody. Normally they come after the person that's local and say that it's his fault. But they didn't realize that they voted nationally against their own interests. I just want you to let that sink in, because if you look at the numbers, everybody I know looks at numbers and they look at them and they say, whoa. Well, the reason why it's like that is because people vote against their best interests because mama did it, daddy did it, and their expectations are that they're going to still have the same power. And when those expectations collide with reality, they realize hey, things ain't fitting like they used to. Things ain't doing what they used to do. I've been going through a lot of stuff tonight, but I've been trying to stay on point. Systems deserve to have a careful examination. And we need to examine it ourselves when we're put in those positions. Systems shape everyday outcome. Clearly, it shapes everyday outcome. Just think about the expectations that they put on that mirror. Just think about the expectations that life puts on you as you go through it, as you continue to live. Think about those expectations, because now you want to dress better, be better, and do everything else. What if, and I'm going to use Pastor Riggins for example. What if Pastor Riggins go into the school, great man outside, do everything right, then just punched all his tickets, an educated man, and he believes in God, so I don't have to worry about this, and I believe in God, so I don't have to worry about this. But what if a school teacher went to work one day and then dedicated their whole life, and somebody comes up there and destroy them on a lie? What if somebody destroys them on not on facts, but something that they made up? Do you know that when I use Pastor Riggins, but do you know when a lawyer gets in trouble and they get this far, that's it? They can appeal. But just think about it. You done worked all your life to get to be a lawyer, and now it's gone. Think about a doctor. A mistake or somebody lying to you or somebody doing something out of the way could basically just take you out. That's my grandson. I'm gonna tell you the reason why I do these shows. Jojo, come here. I'm gonna tell you the reason why I do these shows. I'm gonna show you the reason why I do these shows, because I have to do them for them, not for me. You see this gray hair in my thing right here? I done lived my life. Most of y'all have lived your life. It's time for you to live and let your kids live and let them be who they are. Let them become better people. And that's the reason why we continue to go through this. That's not sick conspiracy. That's not secret planning. That's structured history and continuing doing the same thing to make it better for them. You may not agree or disagree with me tonight. You just may not. You know, as I sit here and I talk, I think about Dee, and I think about Glass, and I think about Pastor Riggins, and I think about the time that we knew each other from the time that we met up until now. And we all struggled. We all had a conversation. We all were going somewhere, and we had something that we was trying to put out. And as of today, as I'm talking to you, the struggle is still there. The struggle is still there. The struggle is still there. I'm trying to get my grandson. He's acting bashful tonight. I had to pull him on. But this is who we do it for, our grandkids. Say hi.
Hi.
Yeah, this is who we do it for. He just got back from football practice, so I can kind of smell him a little bit. So he's all right, though. All right, man. I just want to get you on here for a split minute. Appreciate you. All right, you can go in there. I'll see you in a minute, all right? Okay, go see Granny. Hey, but that's what it's about. Our kids. We have to do stuff for them, not for us. Not for you right now, because you already achieved what you wanted. You observe, you got to your objectives, so to speak. Everything that you put in place now is for your kids and for them to have a way to get where they're going, and your grandkids. But if we don't change what's out there right now, we're not leaving them anything. We're not leaving them anything. This week, I got to cover this, because you know what I've been doing. I wanted to make sure that I incorporate some recent stuff with some old stuff, have a conversation with you about stuff that's going on. You know, this week I saw something in the news that really kind of helped let us know that there's still a God out there. The legal decision that affected Haitian families in this country. That man was trying to throw them out, trying to tell them that they don't belong here, want to run them out of this country. Family, it didn't matter. He was going to send them home. But you know, since there's a God, guess what happened? They get a little bit longer. See, we're going to have to accept that everything that this man is doing is going to eventually have a different outcome. Everything that this man is trying to put in place, yeah, D, he has. He's half my size right now. Everything that this man is trying to put in place, and he's eating more, D. But anyway, that everything that he has done, it could be a different outcome. It will develop into a different outcome. We have to continue to pray and have faith, because he's just one person, and he's on earth. Where our guidance come from ain't nobody on this. It's nobody coming from nobody that's on this earth. Nobody. I don't put my faith in man. I put my faith in God. I put my faith in his son. I put my faith in God and Jesus. That's where my faith lies, and that's where I get my guidance from. So as I sit here and I discuss all this stuff with you, I did it tonight. I've been going for about almost an hour and 2 minutes. I do this on Sit in My Space, but normally I'm more familiar with the subject that I'm covering, and I'm more familiar with what's going on because I study and I research and I go in, I bring it back and I do it over and over. Before I go, I got to do this because I need you to join in Pastor Riggins tomorrow night, and I've got to find it. So if you see me dipping my head off the screen, I'm trying to get to this part that we normally do at this time. And I want to share something with y'all. You heard me talking about D. Let me see. D might let me share it. Let me share it. D is doing her own thing, and let me see the one that I like. Now I'm gonna share the one that she like. This is who I'm talking about when I say positively D. When I say D, that's D right there. Hey, cuz, how you doing? I see you out there. My cousin is another military person. Her husband was a military person. I know D gonna jump on me, but I don't care. I'm gonna take the heat because I need y'all to know who D is, because she's out there. She's been out there almost ever since we got here. My cousin here that's listening to the show, she's a military person. Let me tell you, when you know that it's different, when you know that it's different, when both of y'all have served on different continents outside the U.S., it's a little different. It's a little different. When you travel outside the U.S. and somebody happens to come up to you and say, you know what? Hey, man, how you doing? And you was in high school and you on the other side of the world and you never seen that person before. That's a different feeling. Because y'all are hundreds and thousands of miles away from where you started. And I look at my cousin and man, my cousin, she stayed in. I got out and pursued something else, but she stayed in. And she always shared this story with me. She shares it with me almost every time I see her. She says, Ron, well, they call me Ronnie. Ronnie, the only reason why I went in It's because of your daddy. Your daddy. And I got some more cousins that's out there that's in the military. So if you're paying attention, I'm just telling you, so this world is different. Count your blessings where you're at. Do me a favor. I'm gonna challenge you to do this on a daily basis. I do it to a lot more, but I want to challenge you to at least reach out to about 5 people a day. And if you don't do nothing but tell them good morning, you never know how much that helps them. You never know how much you affect them just to let them know that you care about them, that they make a difference in your life. So I'm gonna challenge you to reach out to 5 people tomorrow, and if you don't write nothing but good morning, they're gonna know where it came from. Do that. Change somebody's life. And as we get ready to get out of here tonight, I think I stretched it out. I wanted to do one more thing, but please join Pastor Riggins, because I got caught up in these. I was going through those photos and I got caught up in these photos. Please join Pastor Riggins as he does his Bible study tomorrow. I want to share something with y'all real quick. I just want to share it with you. It ain't important, but I want to share it with you. See, y'all hear me talk about Pastor Riggins all the time, and you hear Byron Glass talking about what we used to do. Real people, real life, real answers, real life Bible study with Pastor A.F. Riggins. If you've been with me a while, you done seen this picture. You done went to this Bible study. This is over 10 years ago. 10 years ago. I just was going through my computer and I started finding out some of the stuff that we used to do. Here's another one. It's intriguing. Rihanna was part of Blog Talk Radio. That's Mike. I think his name was Mike Hanley. He was really into politics. He was one of the ones that really started. He was in politics. He was one of those guys that was an outlier in politics, but he knew everything that was going on in Austin. That's Rihanna Pigos. That's our sister, as we call her. Rihanna Pigos been with us almost from the start. They had their own show on Blog Talk USA, where I post it right now. That's why I tell people, you really don't know who you're dealing with, and if they don't brag it, if they don't brag what? Oh, I shared your picture. Dee asking me, what did I share? I shared your picture. I told you she was gonna get mad at me. I'll make sure that I do it the right way. But here, I'm gonna go here because I'm supposed to be doing Pastor Riggins, but this is Tawanda Arcadian. Tawanda Kayan. She ran for Congress. She ran for a congressional position here in the state of Texas. She was on Blog Talk USA. Go out there and Google Tawanda Kayan right now. Go out there to Facebook and type in her name and see what she has did. She got 2 daughters that's out there. 2 daughters that she put time in. She got 2 daughters that she put time in, and they're going somewhere. Tawanda is active within the community. She has a book club through Africa, and I think it was about 6 or 7 months ago, she actually went to the school where her books, she would collect books in the United States, and they would end up in Africa. They help kids that are less fortunate than what we are right now. See, in order to make a difference, sometimes it's not who you know, it's how you go about doing it. It's how people recognize you. You have to continue to fight. And I'm looking for Pastor Riggins stuff because my computer organization is messed up. I'm gonna have to do a better job of putting my stuff together. I really am. I think I got it right now. But let me find it, because Pastor Riggins is he wants his stuff to be. So Pastor Riggins does Bible study. I'm going to do this one. Pastor Riggins, join Pastor Riggins for Bible study tomorrow night at 7 p.m. And he does it online. Go to Aquila Riggins. Aquila Riggins. It's called on Facebook. It's called Aquila Riggins. You can see it at the bottom of the picture. Go out there and join him tomorrow night in Bible studies. I think they're still in the book of Matthews. And he said when he gets down to the bottom side of Matthews, you're going to find out a lot of information at that particular point in time. Please go out there and join Pastor Riggins on that. And then if you want to join him on Sunday mornings, he's at 6555. Let me make sure I got that right. 6555 Mesa Drive in Houston, Texas, north side of town. If you want to go out there and join him, and man, I tell you, I'm just amazed at the services that they have out there. I've been out there a couple of times. I haven't quite made the Sunday service, but if you want to go out there and have a good time, I look at it on Facebook, and they also on Facebook, so you can pay attention there. I love seeing people doing the right thing. That's the one thing that I love doing. And I got myself off the picture, but join us next week. Hopefully everybody's intact. Pastor A.F. Riggins, you see him over my shoulder. You see BG over my shoulders. And we just got an open format because so much is changing on a daily basis that we can't lock down anything because it puts us out. Indeed, thank you for listening. And Cassandra, thank you for listening. I really appreciate y'all and the Glovers that's out there. I know that y'all out there listening, and all my friends from work, Cheryl, Yolanda, and all of them. I know that they're out there listening, and I appreciate the participation that's in the show. And don't y'all ever forget that we're gonna do some things here. We're doing some things here. We're not we're doing some things here that's a little bit different than everybody else. I'm trying to get one more thing out before I get off the air, and I don't think I'm gonna be able to do it. But if you give me just a little bit of time, I'm gonna get it up. Because tomorrow it's gonna be a little bit different. I want you to join me on Sitting in Your Space. I'll post it later on in Facebook. I'll put all the information up and let you know what's going on at 1 o'clock tomorrow. If you're sitting at work and you can put on your headphones, you don't have to watch it. You can listen to it at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Please join me. Please join me. And I'm going to try to get back to the screen because I'm looking at myself and I'm still trying to look. But please join me. Thank you, cuz. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. You made a big sacrifice for what you did. You did. And I'll never forget what we went through as a family. But I want to do it this way, because this is where I get out of here. I say, thank God, thank God, thank God. And I want to say something special tonight because I want to tell my auntie. We never called her Ann. We call it Ann. Because it's something about that name, Aunt Ann, Aunt Ann, Aunt Ann. It never registered, so we call it Ann. But I want to say hello to my auntie, and I want to say thank you. And I want to say thank God, thank God, thank God. I've been ending shows like that ever since I've been coming on the air, saying thank God 3 times. So we're out of here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got something out of it that you didn't know. I hope that you feel better than when you came in. That's all I can say. Feel better than when you came in. Feel like somebody's in your corner when everybody else is out of there. Take care. Enjoy.